providing the necessary support to the data acquisition layer when retrieving these data from the static data layer. So the data acquisition layer and the knowledge creation layer together provide some important data to the knowledge base. The knowledge creation layer is responsible of creating the knowledge from unmeaningful data stored by the user. Okay, now let's see the structure of the knowledge base. Since this is the same expert system which we have described earlier, the knowledge base consists with the same 6 modules we have described earlier. But the most important thing is all 6 modules, that means the diagnose module, treatment module, question generation module, clinical test module, explanation handling module and the diagnose depth recognition module, all these 6 modules will be implemented using C# and the .NET framework. So all the code segments or all the parts that we have to implement should be done using C# and .NET. Now let's consider the connection between knowledge base and the data acquisition layer. The data acquisition layer will create the knowledge from the static data according to the request made by the one of 6 modules. The knowledge created by the data acquisition layer will be passed to the 6 modules to perform their tasks. Here you can see how the data acquisition layer and the knowledge base is work. The knowledge base consists with the 6 modules. So these 6 modules will be used in performing the task or come up with some kind of a conclusion. So to support them, the data acquisition layer is used because the data which is stored in the database has no such meaning. We need to give them some kind of a meaning to create them or to represent them as a knowledge. So once a request made from the upper layer, the data acquisition layer will take the data from the database and by applying some rules, it will create the necessary knowledge and pass it to the relevant module. So the knowledge passed or the information passed from the data acquisition layer will be used while making their decisions. So this is how these two are working together. So we have tried in this concept to map the gap between a logical or a declarative platform and the non-declarative platform. The knowledge manager of the system. Actually, this is the part which is act as the inference engine of the proposed system. So it does the same activities as same as the inference engine, will determine which rules should be fired on the data acquisition layer and the knowledge creation layer to create the knowledge or the transform the experience into the knowledge. In otherwise, it will determine the firing order of the rules or which module should be loaded to support the conclusion, whether it is the diagnose module or the diagnosing depth recognition module, clinical test module. The order of the module loading will be controlled by this inference engine or the knowledge manager. And what are the rules or what are the theories should be applied to gain the knowledge from the static data or the stored static data, this knowledge manager is used. In other words, this is take control of all modules inside the... Okay, you know that for a human doctor, when they are diagnosing some diseases, they will be using their experience. So we have decided to add an additional module to gain the experience, which is named as the experience module of the system. The system will be having an experience module which is responsible of keeping tracking records of the decisions made by the system itself. These records will be used in making decisions in the future also. The same thing how the human doctor does. The system records the details about the conclusions made by him or the responses made by the user, particularly maybe a doctor or a medical student. So for some kind of a validations to their conclusions, so these things will be recorded. In the future, when it is making some kind of a decision or come up with a conclusion, it will use this information also, simply for a same situation how it has acted in the past. This is what the experience module is doing. Okay, this is the most important thing of the proposed system. The basic design will create an expert system shell. The system consists with a new expert system shell which is totally implemented using Microsoft technologies, and the expert system shell can be developed to implement any other systems also. This is the most important thing. This is not specific for this system. This can be modified, or the implementer or the programmer has an ability to change or make the necessary changes to modify it to implement other such systems. The components of the expert system shell, the data acquisition layer can be reused, and the knowledge base can be reused by replacing the given modules in the current system. Okay, now let's see the technological background of the system. While developing this system, we will be using the .NET framework 2.0 or later, that means 3.0, maybe 3.5. Then the use of Visual Studio family. The language is Microsoft C# and SQL Server 2005 for the database purposes. So only these languages will be used in developing the proposed system.